Right then, hey folks, welcome to the General Notice. Not on a Monday, but it's how we kick off the week around here by looking ahead and thinking about the things that are going to be coming up on this channel over the coming few days. So let's get on with it. And to start off, I'm actually going to have to rejig a few things because I've had to rejig a couple of things because of various things going on in my life and the world. So that means that I'm actually going to have to move some stuff around potentially over the coming couple of days, potentially the coming couple of weeks. I still haven't done TCR Tormo. I still got 3 rounds of Supercars and a round of Super Formula to catch up on. They could come out over the course of this week. Most likely they'll slot into next week because I've actually got gaps in my schedule. But expect Formula E, Euro RX, IndyCar, NASCAR, preview for Rally Estonia, and a review for potentially a review for the 6 hours of Interlagos. If not, that might get bumped back to next week as well. I don't think I'm going to do a thing for the Saturday night Atlanta race on the Sunday. It really depends because I think actually look at the schedule. It's showing up as Monday 12 a.m. So if I'm still up after the England game, maybe, but I have to wait to see. If Erling Haaland has his way, I'll probably want to go straight to bed. But yeah, next general notice should be next Monday. Not expecting a real rejig for that. However, speaking of rejigs, let's talk the main thing I want to do this week, which is Formula E. Formula E is coming towards the end of Gen 3, and with that, we have some changes for Gen 4. We'll talk about the rules first, and then we'll talk about the calendar afterwards, because the calendar changes quite a bit, and I have some thoughts. First up, the new formats. So, we will have the E-Prix and the E-Prix Unleashed next season. E-Prix Unleashed being no pit boost, 6 minutes of attack mode, and high downforce aero setting. A 30-minute sprint, roughly. The E-Prix itself, 45 minutes. Low downforce, 8 minutes of attack mode, and pit boost. That will be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see what the differences are when it comes to how people perform. And it also means that the pit boost race will go from being the Saturday one to being the Sunday one. Because, at least for Gen 3, it's been the Saturday race has been the pit boost with the single attack mode. And the E-Prix have been the ones with the dual attack mode. Actually, I still haven't finished watching Race 2 of Shanghai, so I don't know how Shanghai really panned out. I've only watched the first one so far. But yeah, what you'll find now is qualifying results in the duels will dish out points too. So there are a few changes in terms of regulations as we go into Gen 4. I think the biggest change is the kind of shake-up that we're seeing with the calendar. In a couple of places, but let's just talk about them. Because a 21-round season awaits us for 2026 into 2027. With, 5 standalone events and then 8 double headers. Yeah, that adds up to 21. Starting off with Jeddah, which, I mean, Riyadh ended up, the Diriyah E-Prix ended up being the opener before, but typically it's around my birthday. It's a bit bold putting it in December when F1's potentially not going to do its Middle East finales this year. But then, if they don't run, the season opener will be Mexico City in January as part of a quadruple header of flyaways in a way over the space of 2 months. Then you've got 3 weeks until the first American race in COTA. 2 weeks after that is Miami. And then you've got 3 weeks off until Sao Paulo. Then you've got a month until Sanya. And then we head towards Europe. The European leg will kick off with Tempelhof. I'm so glad Tempelhof's back. I don't know if it's going to change the circuit, but it's back, and that's what's important. Then you have Monaco. And then the big change, I would argue, for 2027. The EXL's gone. We still have a London E-Prix, though it's not actually happening in London anymore. It's a bit like when the Miami E-Prix happened in Homestead. Brands Hatch will host the London E-Prix from next year. And, interestingly, they've picked Memorial Day weekend in the States for it. I.e., May Bank Holiday weekend in the UK. I.e., what was the Monaco slot until this year is the BTCC, typically Snetterton's slot. And over in the States, just so happens to be the 1100 day of the Indy 500 and the Coca-Cola 600. Which makes me think Canadian Grand Prix is probably going to stay next year in that slot. We haven't seen the calendar for F1 yet, but you can assume that they're going to stay outside of the European time zone. Because you wouldn't put, especially if you're Liberty, you wouldn't put Formula 1 and Formula E head-to-head. They're your own properties. But the day one will clash with the BTCC for Formula E. And then your F1? Yeah, why not take on the Indy 500 again? It wasn't like, people missed the start of the Canadian Grand Prix because they were watching the final laps of Indy this season, was it? After that, we have another permanent circuit joining the calendar, Zandvoort. That will happen 3 weeks afterwards. I'm assuming it's going to be full circuit. I think that could be fun. I think it could be a fun watch. Arama stays as the Madrid E-Prix. I'm glad that it's that. Plus, the Madrid seems interesting. And it seems weird that the proper purpose-built circuit and the quasi-purpose-built, street circuit in Madrid is the F1-1. Formula E gets the permanent circuit. I'm not going to complain. Arama's been quite a good venue. That said, I would love for them to go back to Valencia. I really would. Tormo was a fun race. It was beautifully chaotic, especially that one where a bunch of people got disqualified. Rounding out the season is a doubleheader in Asia. Yeah, Sanya happens in April. And then July. So, this time next year, we have Shanghai. 2 weeks after, rounding out the first season of Gen 4, Tokyo. So yeah, I mean, I'm gutted that the XL is no longer going to be the London race. Brands will be fun. International World Championship Formula Racing at Brands Hatch. What is this? More like 1986 rather than 2026. It'll be cool. Plus, I don't think you need to worry about the noise limits. Benefits of electric racing. Maybe. Just maybe. That means we could get, Laguna Seca? Maybe? I would love to see Formula recast through the corkscrew. Anyways, folks, that's that for this video. That's that for this week's General Notice. As always, thanks for watching. Thanks for joining. Thanks for continued support for this channel. It means a lot to me. But, till next time. Bye for now.